Hi, our next tough tree is Wickson Crab. Wickson Crab got on my radar from Steve Wood in the segment about apples in Botany of Desire, the whoever did it special. Great one if you can find it. Anyway, he really extolled its virtues for adding flavor and character to a cider. It's a gem. So I said I'll grow some. Why not? What I didn't know in the beginning is that it's a tough tree, and I'm really grateful for that serendipity that landed in my lap. So let's go to Orange Pippin and first of all see what Orange Pippin has to say about Wickson Crab. Okay, first of all, Wickson Crab was developed by Albert Eder. Let's hear it for Albert. And he was an apple enthusiast who was working on breeding apples because that's just what he did. He wasn't really, I get the impression he was sort of a pro-am breeder, professional amateur breeder. And Wickson was the result of a cross. Now, what actually got crossed and what was really crossed is in dispute. You can read this yourself, but the bottom line is that Crab was involved and came up with the Wickson Crab. And the Wickson Crab was named after his buddy, Edward J. Wickson, a California pomologist who took him seriously. Thank you, Ed. The beautiful thing I like about apples is there's a lot of history about people and places that get associated with the fruit. So I'd encourage you to read all of this. The thing I like the most is they really do talk about it has a strong flavor, and we need that. If you're only going to grow a few trees, you want trees that add flavor to what will probably be an insipid base of Cortland or something like that. You want to be able to pump it up and get some chroma, some color into that cider. So Wickson with acid and flavor seems to be the place to go. If you put Wickson into the germplasm system, just Wickson, you'll get 3 hits. And one is labeled Wickson. I don't know why the other ones are there unless Ed Wickson was associated with them. Scrolling down, it has relatively young dates, but they talk about it being developed in 1944. It's been around a while, long enough. It's not an ancient variety, but it's definitely an American variety. So that's really kind of cool since so many of our cider varieties, we think of them as being European. This one seems to be decidedly American. Talked about who donated scion wood, who was involved with it. The thing I'm looking for first is always disease resistance, and it says moderately susceptible. Well, I have not really had a problem with it yet. I've seen a few strikes, knock them off. It hasn't been a real problem. It's a crab. It just lives to live. So that's a really cool thing. There's no bloom on the fruit. We don't care. There's russeting. We don't care. One thing we do care about, where is it? Fruit juiciness. Very juicy, greater than 90. That's awesome. You've got a small fruit. So you really, you don't want to be grinding up dry, small fruit. So if a small fruit has a high juice yield to it, it's really validates the effort. So to me, that's a big deal. Now, down on the bottom, they say it's an edible crab apple, where earlier they said it wasn't really edible. And they say it's an ornamental or fruit use. I think it would make a great addition to your orchard as a fruit tree. And I wish they would say fruit use. I wish they would say it's a cider. I may write them and say, what does it take to get that added as a cider? So we're going to take a walk now through my orchard. I'll let you see one of them. They're a very bushy tree, and I have them too close. I have them on 4-foot centers on G41, too tight. They're bushy. So I would say if you're going to grow these on dwarfing rootstock, they need more elbow room, okay? If you espelate, hang them out, they'll immediately start shooting out risers that will fruit. So if you are limited to space, and you want to espalier them, this is actually a pretty good candidate for it. It seems to take well to that kind of training. I'm going to just throw that out there. So let's go to the orchard. All right, these are Wickson Crab on, be real sure, G41. All right, you can see they are a small fruit. There's a lot of fruit. And if I espaliate these, they would just be drooping. But they've done well. I have not seen a lot of disease in here. I'm going to hedge my bets and not say it out loud. They're very bushy, you can see. You can see I've got them too close together on my 4-foot spacing. Just kind of a word of warning. These are too tight. It's a good tree. It adds a tartness, a pucker to cider. So if you're using fresh market culinary fruit that's kind of one-dimensional and flat, here's a new side to it you can add. I would say that these trees are now getting on to 10 feet. I may have to top them and do a little bit more vigorous training in the future. I have some down the way that have been staked, and that helps a lot because they are so bushy. The wind really takes them. They have what called sail effect. They catch the wind and then they bounce around a lot. Small fruit. One problem with the small fruit is they want to fall between the brushes in a fruit washer. So be prepared for that. Maybe put a catch net down there so you catch the fruit and it doesn't go down the drain. That's been known to happen. I don't have large hands. That's Wickson Crab.